Hi, this is Leslie Rydberg. I am the residency program director at the Northwestern residency program at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. Glad to talk with all of you about our program and about the things that we love. So I'll go first, and then I'm going to hand it over to our chief residents who are all on the same screen sharing an orange wall, which I think tells you a little bit about our personality already. So I think one of the things that I'm most proud about our program is the mentorship that we're able to provide for our residents. And so we really have great faculty in kind of all the different areas of PM&R, specialties, subspecialties, and we have a formal mentorship program. We have a research mentorship program. We have longitudinal mentorship relationships. We have informal mentorship, and we have a great alumni faculty network that's very engaged. And we get together at all the national meetings. And so it's super fun to be a part of that network. The other thing that I'm really proud about our program is that we really want to give our PM&R residents the opportunity to become the type of physician that they want to be. And so we try to give opportunities to train in medical education, in research, in ethics, in global health. And so we have ample elective time, selective time, and specialty tracks, both intrinsic to our residency program as well as in the larger Northwestern McGaw program for our residents to participate in. One other thing I wanted to mention is that as a standalone rehabilitation hospital, it's very important for our residents to get involved across the whole spectrum of the hospital. So we have our residents involved in all of the different committees, helping to review cases for our medical care committee. And so really we want to make sure that the residents are a part of everything that's going on in the hospital. Additionally, we want to make sure that the resident voice is heard in everything that we do. So we really try and gather a lot of information from our residents about what's going well, about what we can improve, and use that information to really grow what we're doing with the curriculum and hospital-wide. So I will hand it over to our chief residents who are fantastic and will give you some more information.
Amazing. Thank you, Dr. Rydberg. And thanks everyone for joining here. This is crazy. What, we have like 86 people on here at like 9 p.m., 8 p.m. So love that we're, able to kick off, recruitment season here. Couldn't be any more excited. So the goal of today is really just to give like a high level overview of our program. We'll drop the link to our website in the chat. That really has like all of the fine details in terms of call, in terms of, rotations, and, benefits and all of that fun stuff. But what our goal is kind of give a glimpse on what it's like to be a resident in our program, highlight some of the reasons that we ourselves picked the program and like what we love about it most. I think one of the things to highlight is that we have a lot of different names. So, we're part of Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. You'll also hear us, called Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. If you're old school, there might be like a Rehab Institute of Chicago or RIC in there. So essentially, if you're looking for us on ERAS, though, what our bigger system is the Northwestern McGaw Medical Center. So that's how you'll find us on ERAS, on socials, all that fun stuff. To kind of highlight us as well. So we're a big residency program. We have traditionally it's 12 residents a class. This year we welcomed in our first combined peds PM&R resident as well. So we're up to 13 now. So we have like 4 categoricals that we bring in each year, 1 peds PM&R combined resident, and then 8 advanced as well. We do rotate through a lot of different sites that we can touch on. I think our biggest and where we consider home a lot is the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. For those who don't know, so the Shirley Ryan Ability Labs, it's a freestanding, standalone rehab hospital. It's here like in downtown Chicago, right off the lake. And, with that too, we have around like 230, 240 beds that are usually filled on the inpatient side. And we see a lot of different spectrum all across, the rehab care. We pull in a lot of patients from Chicago, but then like Northwestern and Chicago are big referral centers, but we also see a lot all across the country, even some, out of country as well, like especially on our SCI or TBI services. We definitely see, some of the sickest of the sick patients, and, we're able to offer them rehab, offer them the chance to return home, which is, a really cool experience. And I think with that too, that touches on, one of the big themes of our program is, building a really comprehensive, like broad-based training. And I think that really starts from day one of residency here. With that, I think it is important to note that we're not an easy residency program. I think with caring for sick patients, with caring for complex rehab patients, that comes with challenges, and it definitely pushes you, to be the best physiatrist that you can be. But I think we have a strong culture of support in that sense as well, where, I think we attract a certain type of applicant as well that is looking to, really find their niche within rehab, looking to be a, leader in the field and kind of, looking to find that home. So, with that, I'll pass it off to Adele here. She'll talk a little bit more about our rotations and some of those fun things.
Yeah, so I'm Adele. I am one of the chiefs. I'm admin chief, and I'm actually going into spinal cord injury, which is very exciting. I'm just a brief overview about some of our rotations and kind of our call and vacations and things like that. So our PGY 2-year right now is completely inpatient for all 12 months, and then PGY 3 and 4-year are mainly outpatient. There's a couple of inpatient months here and there at different sites, like the VA or at Illinois Masonic, which is another community rehab hospital. So we do get exposure into various types of inpatient rehab. I think a really big highlight of our program is that we actually have 6 months total of elective time. 5 of those months are in our PGY 4-year. So by that point where you kind of know what exactly you want to go into and what type of physiatrist you want to be and where your niche is, you're able to design your rotations and your elective time into something that works for you. And I think that's just the perfect part of Shirley Ryan's residency program. We also kind of emphasize that no two residents residency experience and exposure should be the same. So mine is pretty different from Sean, who's going into medically complex rehab, and different from Vicky, who is going into general and neuro rehab. So we all have our own things that get us excited, but we also learn a lot from each other. Our call is an in-house system, and it is graded so that you have the heaviest number of calls in your PGY 2-year and much less call by your PGY 4-year. I do want to say that our weekends are actually off if you're not on call or doing admissions, which are assigned in advance as part of the call schedule. None of our residents actually round on the weekends. The attendings round without residents on the weekends. As part of all of this, and because we're a bigger residency program, our call pool is also pretty big, so our call frequency is not too bad, I would say. The other thing is that vacation, because we are able to help each other out with a special rotation called Floor Assist, which you can get more information on our website, and also from coverage from the attendings. We actually have a pretty flexible vacation policy in that you're not designated to having to take all 5 days off in a row. You can take 1 day here, 2 days here, and kind of make it your own across a variety of rotations in all 3 years, or all 4 years. As part of the vacation policy, so we have 20 days of vacation. Our conference days are actually separate, especially from our vacation policy. And if you're presenting at a conference, we actually do have a pretty hefty research fund, and we can get reimbursed up to $1,400 per conference that you are presenting at. There's a ton of opportunities to do research if it's something that you're passionate about. And depending on what you're passionate about, there's a lot of opportunities where you can frame your own research project. So I personally love research, and I'm really interested in doing clinical studies. And so I've been able to find mentors right off the bat from PGY 2-year that get me involved. But some of my co-residents are more interested in QI projects or med ed projects. And there is a lot about our tracks and a lot of opportunities, especially being at a translational hospital like Shirley Ryan. But you actually get assigned a research mentor in your PGY 2-year that stays with you for the 3 years, who guides you on your research projects, and you're able to share ideas and get different thoughts and kind of have a little your own brain hive, which is really great. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Victoria or Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky. I'm the current academic chief. So we learn a lot at our program. I will say that it's so many different types of patients come here. You can learn from all your patients and also from all the different attendings. There's a wealth of knowledge. So the environment's it can be challenging, but also be very high support as well to individualize your learning. As Adele mentioned, there's so many opportunities to formulate the type of physiatry experience that you want to have. I'm doing something completely different from Nadell. I'm interested in like inpatient general neuro rehab. And so like my elective could look very different from another residence. But from a learning standpoint, there's lots of opportunities to learn. We have pretty much throughout your second year, when you're on the inpatient side, you're having lectures on all the major topics of like neural rehab and like the building blocks of physiatry that set you up really well. And then you also have third and fourth year lectures on like a longitudinal like MSK curriculum. There's a sports and spine course where you get time in the fluoro suite to kind of learn that portion. And then also like ultrasound guided injection with like real cadavers. We have anatomy lab with cadavers as well, which is a really good learning experience. And then you also have like weekly chair rounds which is pretty unique, that our chair here at Shirley Ryan will sit in on those rounds and comment and like be able to provide perspective on like high yield board topics, and then also their experience with a lot of the topics in rehab. So that's a really good review that we do every week. And then we also have like grand rounds where we bring in speakers, not only from like the local community, we also benefit from being at an academic center with like Northwestern, but we also bring speakers from across the country to kind of talk about different topics in rehab that are really interesting. And then there's many different tracks and ways you can get involved if you have a further interest. So we have a med ed track here at Shirley Ryan, a QI or quality improvement, a leadership track, and then even at Northwestern, we have other tracks as well. So there's global health, there's another medical education, and then there's also opportunities to even do things like bioethics, or if you wanted to do a part-time MBA program, you can do that as a resident as well. So there's so many opportunities to really learn about how to be a physiatrist, but also the type of physiatrist that you want to be. And I think that's like a huge draw for our program as well.
Yep. And I see Dr. Ryberg's been busy answering some questions in the chat too, but we'll get to those for sure.
Amazing.
I wasn't sure how much time we were going to have, so I was trying to be proactive.
No, I love the efficiency. This is great. And so I guess I kind of jumped right in. I didn't fully introduce myself, but I'm the resident affairs chief, so I'm also in charge of like our wellness committee and kind of the catch-all for a lot of those other things. So obviously, wherever you go to train, you're going to have, good clinical training, you're going to have didactics. But what we like really try to create here at Shirley Ryan is just that like culture of learning, that culture of support. Obviously, our patient population can be challenging, but we always try to balance that with having that like family environment too. So there's definitely a big emphasis on, that wellness component and finding that work-life balance. So as like resident affairs chief, I'm in charge of our wellness committee now. So we've been growing that over the recent years, which has been great. We have a ton of events throughout the year. We had a pickleball tournament recently against the attendings. Dr. Chu smoked all of us, but that was a great time. We have like an annual hospital-wide picnic. We have a talent show. We have a big holiday party every year. We're doing like an orthotics building contest. So basically, there's just a lot of different things that are going on. Dr. Chu and Dr. Hendrick are two of our APDs, are now our faculty lead on the wellness committee as well, which has just brought in like a new wealth of energy and thoughts and ideas, which has been fantastic. And then the other kind of like new event that we kicked off this past year is sort of like on the rocks happy hour that we do. It's like every Thursday before our switch day. All the residents, meet up, the 2s, the 3s, and 4s. Normally we just go to like a patio on the lake, enjoying that Chicago summer. But it's been good just to kind of get like that entire class collaboration. The other thing that we do within our program, especially because, we do have, that like close to 41 residents, total across the years, is we have a family program that we're kind of helping build out even further this year with more of like a mentorship degree of it. But essentially, from day one as an intern, you're going to be paired with a PGY2, with a PGY3, a PGY4, and then an attending mentor as well. That kind of create these like core families. So, from day one, when you're starting the program, you kind of have that oversight, that mentorship, the like small questions, whether that's about work, whether that's about life. We want to make sure that you have that community. I think the other really nice thing is that we do have like biannual like class retreats as well. So there's 2 weekends a year where like all the PGY2s are off, all the PGY3s are off. And usually, at least the way our class is done, is like we'll travel for one of the trips. So like we went to like Geneva, we went to Milwaukee, and just like take a weekend trip with the entire class. And then the second one, we bring like all of our significant others and usually do something in Chicago. So that's like just a really good opportunity. And then the other last thing I'll highlight is I think we benefit a lot from our connection with Northwestern, our connection with Shirley Ryan, and we really kind of reap the benefits of both of those. So like through Northwestern, we get something that's called like the wild card. And basically that's just a card that it gets you like a really good discount at FFC, which is a nice gym nearby. You get like, there's a ton of like random like restaurant and store discounts on there. You can do like a divvy bike discount. Like there's just like a ton of like different things like through that card. So I think we benefit from having, some of that Northwestern wellness that plays in as well. I know we said a lot of different information. I know there's, questions going off off in the chat as well. Let's see, we're happy to dive into any areas that you have questions, thoughts on.
Yes, so we have about 5 to 6 minutes left, so I'll ask some questions that haven't been addressed yet.
Perfect.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. I have 2 questions. Number 1, could you talk more about your research track and research opportunities, how residents integrate research? And number 2, what opportunities for MSK and neuromuscular learning are available for residents? Thank you.
That's great. I'll give a quick plug on research as someone who had not done a lot of research before coming into residency. That was like one thing I was very nervous about because like every program is talking about research, the research track. And I was like, I have very limited experience. So being paired with like a research process mentor, so mine is Dr. Harvey, who does like a ton of research in the field of PM&R. So like day one, just kind of walking through like, all right, this is how you structure a study. These are the things to think about was like huge for me. And now I've been involved with a lot of like other projects that I otherwise would have had no idea how to even start. But I'll kick that over to Adele, who definitely does way more research.
So I would definitely say that the getting involved in research, I think it's almost like you get offered a lot more projects than you may be able to handle. And I say that because we're still like we're residents, we have our rotations, we have whatnot, but then we have all these really fun research projects. If you're interested in a specific field and just happen to mention it off the cuff to one of your attendings during a rotation, next thing I knew, I had 3 emails from different faculty being like, I heard you're interested in this. I have this going on. What do you think? There's also been times where we found like different avenues of like QI projects or med-ed, or there's a gap in something that we're interested in. You can approach any number of attendings and then they'll be like, hey, I can't do this, but I know someone who can. And the next thing you know, you're in a bunch of meetings and you're like, hey, let's get this going. How can we support you from the attendings? Which I think is really a selling point of our program. You can do it all from like the clinical like research. It could be chart reviews. It could be like there are some bench lab research going on. There's medication trials going on. And then there's like the med-ed projects and QI projects that I mentioned as well.
And then the second part of the question was about MSK curriculum. So there is a weekly longitudinal like musculoskeletal course. And then there's also adjuncts like the ultrasound injection course that we do on like live cadavers, on cadavers. And then we have also the spine course that's offered once a year. And then we also have like other clubs that are run by residents like the ultrasound club as well, if you want to have extra time scanning. So there's a lot of different ways that we are involved with the musculoskeletal kind of like curriculum and like extracurriculars. Like you can also volunteer for things like adaptive sailing is an event that we did about a week ago that a lot of our residents also participated in. So there's many opportunities to kind of get sports exposure and coverage and MSK exposure.
Also, quick clarification, because I realized I never mentioned too. I know we got the orange wall. Looks like we're at work. This is only because we went to we had a PGY4 like birthday party across the street at the beach, and then walked right back over to do this. So we are not still at work. I do want to emphasize that.
Amazing.
We dropped off some cake for the rest of the PGY for the rest of the residents, so we did come back for that purpose as well.
All right, thank you so much. I just saw that Dr. Riper has answered the rest of the questions, all of them. So we have 2 more minutes. So I'll be asking the questions that has been asked the earliest to the residents. Thank you. The first one is, do residents get the opportunity to care for underserved or uninsured patient populations?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that we have like a lot of opportunities to do that. One, just across all of our clinical sites for one. So like on the inpatient side, we definitely see that, whether that's here at Shirley Ryan, whether that's on consults over at Northwestern, whether that's at Masonic, which is our community rehab hospital. We also do a couple rotations at the VA. So there's a lot of like structured curricular opportunities there. And then there's a lot of other like volunteer opportunities that you can take on. So I think probably the biggest one that we have a lot of longitudinal involvement is the like community MSK clinic. So it's a community clinic over on the west side of Chicago that sees a lot of like uninsured or underinsured patients. There is a larger clinic that has like different disciplines where we play a role as that like MSK clinic. So we'll go over with our fellows. And we'll do that once a week, which I think is a really good opportunity, you know, outside of like your structured clinical time.
Thank you. I'll ask you one more question. You mentioned how residents get focused on the parts of PM&R they want to a bit more. I'm interested in disability advocacy and wanted to know what experience past and current residents may have been able to pursue in that field. Thank you.
Yeah, so disability, I was literally like Dr. Ryberg is on, who does so much with disability education and advocacy, and we're actually working on we're working on something right now to kind of advocate for more advocacy and training to be a physician advocate as a physiatrist as part of PM&R residency right now, that hopefully will be out soon, but maybe we should kick that one over to Dr. Ryberg.
I think that disability advocacy is really important in our field. And so I've tried to really start that advocacy at home by training the medical students that we work with. We are really lucky in that every single Northwestern medical student rotates with us. So we have great interface with the Northwestern Medical School. And so we train all the medical students about disability and how to care for people with disability. And then I'm trying to integrate that into our residency training as well. So we're really thinking about how to care for our patients with disabilities and how to advocate for them within health systems, and also taking that to the next level to think about how to advocate for them in communities and institutions and nationally. So there are a lot of people at the Shoreline Ability Lab that are very involved in advocacy between some of the physician leadership, but also we have a lot of leaders in different areas of rehabilitation throughout Chicagoland and nationally who are really involved in these kinds of platforms. So depending on the specific area of advocacy, there's really great opportunities for residents who are interested.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll add on that too, which I think is a theme across different things. So whether that's disability advocacy, whether that's medical education, whether that's leadership, I do think like one of the hallmarks of our program and like the slogans is that there, you know, we're aiming to train leaders in the field as well. So I feel like there's a lot of emphasis, you know, on like what can we do right now in training, what can we do with our communities, you know, our patients that are in the area that we serve, but how do we take that to the next level as well? How do you structure, you know, your practice in the future? How do you carry this to, you know, other hospital systems, other areas, you know, outside of medicine. So I think there's a lot of what we do now in training, but that also that underlying evidence or that support of how do you advance on that once you leave here, once you graduate training.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of tonight's virtual residency fair. Huge thanks again to all the programs for joining us and to all of you doctors answering questions and attending. We also have our next fair on Thursday night at the same time with UT Southwestern, University of Miami, Jackson Health, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, and University of Kansas. Looking forward to seeing all you then, and please stay tuned if you're interested. Have a great evening, and thank you again for joining us tonight. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And we threw our emails in the chat and the website. Feel free to reach out if any questions come up at all. And we're always happy to help in any way we can.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Night.